Before this video gets started, I just want to say congratulations to our 3 champions. You guys obviously know we should celebrate our champions, but we cannot forget about our very own disappointments. So let's go ahead and let's rank down from the top 3 series of NASCAR of our very own disappointments. Also, just a quick disclaimer here, all this was recorded before Phoenix, so I know there's some stuff that's going to be wrong, but I didn't expect it to take this long to edit, so it's just going to be how it is. So anyway, let's get into it. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into our disappointments and start off in the Cup Series, where our first 2 disappointments will be Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman. Now, these two have some abstracts to their seasons, but just hear me out here, okay? Chase Elliott was coming off a Championship 4 appearance with a 5-win season, and Alex was looking to rebound after only scoring 1 win and missing 5 of the last 6 races due to injury. The start of their seasons were a complete 180 from one another. Alex started off with 5 top 10s and was the point leader after Circuit of the Americas. Chase, on the other hand, his season started in the worst way possible. He crashed out of the Daytona 500, and before the 3rd race of the season at Las Vegas, it was announced that Chase had broke his leg in a snowboarding accident, resulting in him missing 6 races at the start of the season. Shortly before Chase came back, Alex's season took a turn after Richmond, where he was hit with a 60-point penalty, but was still sitting 7th in the points. Shortly after Chase came back at Martinsville, Alex ended up getting injured himself in a sprint car accident before Dover, injuring his back, and would miss 3 races. Alex would return at Charlotte for the Coke 600, and once he came back, Chase decided he needed another week off, and he right-hooked Denny Hamlin in the 600, with NASCAR suspending him for 1 race. When the summer came, Chase was looking like he could still make the playoffs on points, but after an early crash in Michigan and running out of gas at Watkins Glen, Chase had to win at Daytona in order to make it to the playoffs. As for Alex, his summer did not help his playoff chances. After Richmond, he didn't score a single top 10 until the Indianapolis Grand Prix, and he dropped as low as 22nd in the points. Much like Chase, Alex needed to win at Daytona, and when the checkered flag flew, both of them failed to win, with Chase finishing in 4th and Alex in 6th. It was the first time since 2016 that 2 Hendrick cars failed to make the playoffs, with Chase missing for the first time in his career, and Alex since he joined Hendrick Motorsports in 2018. Now, do we expect them to have a Kyle Busch 2015 comeback? No. But I imagine that they will still made the playoffs from HMS equipment. This season is a season that both of them would like to have them put behind them, and will hopefully start looking forward to 2024 for more success. Alright, now the Hendrick duo is done. Let's go head over to Trackhouse and talk about our favorite amigo, Daniel Suarez. In 2022, Daniel finally broke through and got his first win of his career at Sonoma and made the playoffs. So 2023 was looking for more growth to Daniel's career. He had a strong first 3 races with him being 4th after Vegas. But after Vegas, it all went downhill from there. He fell out of the top 16 after Coda and hovered around the cutoff line all season long. He came close to winning in the regular season, a 2nd at the rain short in Atlanta race in the summer, and a 3rd at Indianapolis after starting on pole. Going to the regular season's finale at Daytona, Daniel was 18th in points and needed to win, but ended up finishing 20th, missing the playoffs again in his career. This season was a letdown for Daniel, considering the fact his full-time teammate Ross Chastain won a race at Nashville, and even his part-time teammate Shane Van Gisbergen, who's driving the Trackhouse Project 91 car, won in his first start in Chicago. Now, Daniel did sign an extension with Trackhouse, so he is safe for a little while. But with them signing SVG to a developmental deal and getting Zane Smith from the Truck Series and Ford, Daniel's going to start picking up the pace here, or he might be job hunting again in a few years. Let's go ahead and throw in a full team in there and throw in both full-time, supposedly full-time drivers of the Legacy Motor Club. This season looked like Legacy Motor Club would thrive, with Jimmy Johnson coming in as a new owner to the team, them getting Noah Gragson after his phenomenal Xfinity season, and Eric Jones' decent 2022 season due to standards of the recently formed Petty GMS. Well, that was for naught, as it was a giant letdown for the team. Let's take a look at Eric's season first. After scoring 13 top 10s and a 2nd Southern 500 victory in 2022, Eric was actually a consideration for a playoff spot. Even though he wouldn't make it far, after 2022, it looked possible. But all that momentum he built in 2022 was pretty much all for naught, as he struggled massively. He had half the top 10 finishes he did in 2022, his average finish dropped 4 spots, and his points finish dropped 9 spots. The big bright spot this season was a 3rd at Kansas in the playoffs, and that was pretty much about it. This year was a doozy for Eric, but wasn't as terrible as his teammate at the start of the year, Noah Gragson. After a phenomenal 2022 season with Junior Motorsports, scoring 8 wins, with 4 of those wins being in a row, Noah made the move up to the Cup Series to replace Ty Dillon in the 42 car, and was looking like there will be a good battle for Rookie of the Year with the guy that bested him for the Xfinity title, Ty Gibbs. But all of it was a thought as the season went on. Noah had no success whatsoever in that 42 car. His best finish was a 12th at the first Atlanta race and had one more top 20 finish. Other than that, results-wise, there's nothing to be proud about for this season. At Gateway, Noah suffered a concussion and missed the next race at Sonoma. During his interview at Gateway, Noah said he can't wait for the offseason. Whether or not that was the concussion talking, his season ended shortly thereafter. As the Cup Series made it to Michigan, it was announced that Noah had been suspended by Legacy Motor Club and later NASCAR after liking a meme related to George Floyd. Whether or not it is insensitive is up to you, and Noah was eventually let go from the Legacy Motor Club. Now Noah is looking for a second chance in his career and is hoping someone will give him a call. Oh, and it looks kind of bad for Noah, considering the fact that Carson Hocevar jumped in that car and outperformed Noah in every way. While there were a lot of downs in Noah's season, he did have a few notable moments. He ran up front some in Talladega, got punched by Ross Chastain at Kansas, that bowl cut, and in turn 6 at Chicago. I don't think I really need to say anything else about Chicago, do I? Now let's talk about, in my opinion, the biggest disappointment in the Cup Series, Austin Dillon. Now Austin did have a few bright spots in the season. Before the season started, actually, he recruited Kyle Busch over from Joe Gibbs. He also looked like he's going to be either him or Kyle to win the Daytona 500. And also Austin also finished third at Bristol Dirt. Alright, but that was it for any high points of the season. He scored a few top 10s this season, but was 29th in points after a penalty after Martinsville, and he never moved higher than that. It was his worst points finish by far since 2019. What makes this season worse was that Kyle Busch went on to win 3 races in his first year at RCR, and he made it to the round of 12. Now Austin probably will not be going anywhere anytime soon, but after this year, Austin's going to have to find something to match his teammate, and hopefully maybe Grandpa might not think about maybe trading him for somebody else, i.e. another Austin. Alright, let's go ahead and leave the Chevrolet camp and hop over to the Blue Ovals, where we're going to talk about the 2022 champion, Joey Logano. Going into the 2023 season as the defending champion, Joey already had high expectations going into the season. He won early in the season at Atlanta, but throughout the season, for every 1 to 2 good races he would have 1 to 2 bad races to follow. Going into the final race of the round of 16 at Bristol, Joey was 12 points above the cut line. All Joey had to do was run well and get a few stage points, and he'd make it into the round of 12. However, just past the halfway point of the race, Joey was collected in a wreck and finished 34th, failing to make the round of 12 this season. Joey now holds the record for the fastest the defending champion has been eliminated from the playoffs since its inception in 2014. Joey's now going to have to rebound after a disappointing championship defense season and going into 2024 with a win-at-all-cost mentality. Considering the fact now he's the number 2 driver at Penske since Ryan Blaney passed him for this season. While Joey's season, even though it wasn't too terrible, it was a lot worse for his teammate, Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric, like many other rookies in the past, got nailed with the sophomore slump. The 2022 Daytona 500 champion and Rookie of the Year was looking to replicate or improve from his rookie season as he made it to the round of 12. But as mentioned earlier, the sophomore slump bit him and he struggled throughout the season, after scoring 1 top 5 and 4 top 10s, compared to 2022 when he got 5 top 5s and 9 top 10s, with his average finish position dropped by nearly 6 spots and finished 23rd in points. He still beat his other sophomore drivers, but their season showed either slight improvement or slight regression. Now, I'm not too worried about Austin. Hopefully he'll bounce back in 2024, knowing that he's pretty much set up for the long haul at Team Penske for many years to come. And maybe he'll find his way back into victory lane. Now, just to make this easier on myself, I'm just going to lump these 3 together and put 3 of the 4 Stewart-Haas drivers in here: Chase Briscoe, Ryan Preece, and Eric Almirola. If there's one clip that has to describe the season for Stewart-Haas Racing, is Ryan Preece's crash at Daytona. It was just a giant barrel roll waiting to end. SHR is looking to capitalize on a slight resurgence in 2022, with Harvick winning 2 races and Chase Briscoe winning his first race of his career and making it to the round of 8. While Harvick ran decently this season, his teammates made the team unrecognizable. In 2023, these 3 combined had 15 top 10s. Kevin Harvick had 13 top 10s alone. Ryan Preece didn't get his first top 10 till Richmond in the summer. Eric Almirola was doing Eric Almirola things. And Chase Briscoe, the guy that made it to the round of 8 in 2022, while having more top 10s than Eric and Ryan, got hit with a 120-point penalty after the Coke 600 when it's discovered that they had a counterfeit part on the car and dropped him to 31st in points, and he just opted to stay there for the rest of the year. You could say that Stewart-Haas was the number 3 team at Ford, and that's being generous, considering the fact that Front Row Motorsports improved a lot this year. They failed to score a win for the organization for the first time since before its inception in 2009, when Tony bought into Haas Racing. The future doesn't look bright for SHR as of now. With Kevin Harvick retiring and a rookie Josh Berry coming in, and with Eric Almirola leaving, plus sponsors Busch Beer and Smithfield leaving, it may be a few years till we see this team be the powerhouse that it once was. Speaking of Josh Berry, let's head on down to the Xfinity Series, where Josh will be the first one on this list of disappointments in the Xfinity Series. After scoring 2 wins in a part-time season in 2021 and 3 wins in a Final Four appearance last year, Josh was looking to repeat that success this season for Junior Motorsports. Now, it's not that the season was bad. He had double-digit top 5s and top 10s. The thing was that he didn't win this season, and he still made the playoffs, but he got eliminated in the first round, while his teammates Justin Allgaier and Sam Mayer won 4 races apiece and competed for the championship. It's a bit of a sad note to see that for that team, since Josh will be leaving to head to the earlier mentioned Stewart-Haas, considering the fact that Josh spent so many years at Junior Motorsports, whether it's driving for Junior's late model team or in the Xfinity Series. But while the season wasn't as bad for Josh Berry, his team can't be saying for his teammate, the biggest disappointment in the Xfinity Series, Brandon Jones. When it was announced that Brandon Jones was coming to Junior Motorsports to replace Noah Gragson, he was going to have some big shoes to fill. As mentioned earlier, Noah won 8 races for Junior Motorsports and was runner-up in the championship, and Brandon was leaving Joe Gibbs Racing after 5 seasons with the team. Now, were we expecting a duplicate result this season? No. But I do believe we expect him to at least make the playoffs and maybe win a race. It seemed like the first half of the season, they were always in their own way. The first half of the season, they only had 3 top 10 finishes. When the second half started, they started to find their stride, but it wasn't enough to make up the gap they made in the first half. He came close to winning at Kansas late in the year, but had to settle for second in that race, missing the playoffs. It's the first time that the number 9 missed the playoffs in any season it was on track for the whole season. With Brandon heading back to the team next year, he and that number 9 team can only hope for a better 2024. Alright, let's go ahead and leave Junior Motorsports and head over to RCR, where Sheldon Creed will make this list. Sheldon Creed, much like Josh Berry, didn't have a terrible season, but compared to his teammate Austin Hill, he struggled. Sheldon did improve from his rookie campaign. He scored more top 5s, more top 10s, a better average finish, and making the playoffs for the first time. Sheldon also made it to the round of 8 this season, and while it was a big improvement, he failed to win a race this season, whereas Austin Hill was better than him in every category and was a championship favorite throughout the season. Until Martinsville, where they both beat and banged on each other and it costed both of them a shot at the Final Four. Much like his Truck Series days, it took Sheldon time to finally capture that first win. However, it will not be for RCR, as we announced that Sheldon will be driving for someone else in 2024, with a rumor of it, as of this recording, being that he'll be at Joe Gibbs Racing in 2024. Hopefully Sheldon will break through and capture that checker flag soon, as we all know Sheldon just needs the cars to fall into his place, and eventually he'll finally capture those black and white squares. Unfortunately, this guy's going to make it on this list, Riley Herbst. Man, Riley wished probably that this last part of the season happened sooner. Riley started 2023 like how he ended 2022, with a bunch of top 10s in a row, scoring 6 top 10s in a row and was second in the points after Richmond. However, after Richmond, his season took a turn. Richmond started a streak of 8 races of finishing outside the top 10, with the best finish of 14th in that stretch, making him drop near the playoff cut line. Seemed like throughout the season it was either a mistake by a driver, crew, or bad luck that seemed to make Riley drop in the points. In the regular season finale at Kansas, Riley was in a points battle with Parker Kligerman to determine the final spot in the playoffs, and Riley was ahead of Parker by 1 point. Riley needed a perfect race to make it into the playoffs. He needed everything to go his way. But during the race on a restart, Parker and Riley happened to make contact, resulting in a flat right front for Riley, causing him to go 2 laps down and resulting in him missing the playoffs for the first time in his career. This season wasn't all doom and gloom. At his home track at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Riley went on and got his first win of his career. And he didn't just luck into that win, he flat out dominated that race, leading over half the race and won by 15 seconds. This was what Riley needed in the beginning of the season and is what he needs now to show that he can do it and that he belongs. And now with him returning to SHR in 2024, or who knows what the Monster Energy team can do in the Xfinity Series. Who knows, he might even be a Championship 4 contender. Let's go ahead and finish off the Xfinity Series disappointments. I'm going to throw in Ryan Sieg in there. The Tucker, Georgia driver only scored 4 top 10s this season and has worst points finish of his career. I don't know if it's just me thinking this, but I think he might just stretch his equipment thin this year. His family-owned team ran 3 full-time cars and a part-time 4th car at select races. Now, it's pretty normal to see RSS run multiple cars, but it seemed like the main focus was always Ryan's car, and the others were kind of just on track, or they were just starting parks. This year was different with Ryan's brother Kyle C coming to Xfinity, and Joe Graff Jr. driving for the team a lot this season. Like I said, maybe that's just me thinking that. Also, maybe with CMR Roofing, having a lot of trouble but who knows? Hopefully, RSS Racing can sort themselves out and make an improvement for 2024. Let's head over to the final touring series of NASCAR. Let's head on down to the Truck Series, where Zane Smith will be the first one on this list. Zane Smith, much like Joey Logano, was the defending champion of the series, so he already had high expectations to back up that championship. And at first, it looked like he was doing just that. He went back-to-back and won Daytona, and he went back-to-back again at Circuit of the Americas. But throughout this whole season, it was either top 5 or bust for the 3018. Zane scored 10 top 5s, which also matches his number of top 10s this season, both of which are less than his championship year last year, and his average finish dropped by nearly 7 spots. Zane did make it to the round of 8, but needed a miracle to happen at Homestead to defend his championship. At the end, Zane ended up missing the final 4 to finish a up-and-down season. Zane is a talented driver, as we all know that, and it's a bit of a disappointment to see his tenure at Front Row come to an end like that, as he'll be heading up to the Cup Series to drive the 3rd Spire car with partnership with Trackhouse in 2024. Let's check on down to Stuart Friesen, as he'll be next. Stuart Friesen's career has been quite an up-and-down story. His 2022 season saw him score a win and 13 top 10s with an average finish of 10th and a 6th place points finish. But this season was a bit of a letdown compared to last year. He failed to make the playoffs for the 2nd time in his full-time career, his top 10s were cut in half, and his average finish dropped 7 spots, which what really caused him to lose to Matt Crafton in making the playoffs. Will Stewart ever be a championship driver? That's a question that the 39-year-old will have to answer for all of us in the coming years, and hopefully he can find his way back into the playoffs in victory lane again. Let's go ahead and throw one of the rookies in here and throw in Daniel Dye. Now, Daniel's rookie season wasn't really anything special. He got a top 10 this season at Talladega and has a 19.6 average finish. I mean, it wasn't good or bad, it was just meh, he was just kind of there. But compared to the other rookies that he competed with this season, he was the worst of the rookies. Where Nick Sanchez made the playoffs. Even the rookies that missed races and Jake Garcia and Taylor Gray outran him. And Raja Carruth, while he was only 1 spot ahead of him in points, Raja had shown bright spots this season compared to Daniel. But either way, all the rookies beat him in every statistical category this season, and it's not looking good for Daniel. As of my knowledge, Daniel is currently out job hunting, as it was announced that GMS was shutting down at season's end, and with those numbers, Dan might have a harder time finding a new home in NASCAR. Let's jump on over to Tricon Garage. I'm just going to talk about Tanner Gray here. Either I didn't realize this, or I just forgot, but I found out that this year was Tanner's 4th year in the Truck Series. The former NHRA Pro Stock Champion has been with David Gilliland since the beginning of his stock car career, and his progression for the most part has been stagnant. No wins, no playoff appearances, and his stats are pretty much the same, with the exception of 2021, which were worse. This year has been no different than usual. Tanner's normally an 11th to 20th place driver with the occasional top 10, and which has him 13th in points, which isn't too bad, but considering the fact his younger brother Taylor was 15th in points and has a better average finish than him, considering the fact he missed the first 3 races this season due to him not being 18. Had Taylor ran all the races, there's a chance he would have outran Big Brother. Now, is Tanner going anywhere? As of right now, I don't think so. He seems pretty stable on where he's at right now. But if Tanner doesn't start finding the top 10 more, there might be some questions about Tanner in NASCAR. While staying over at Tricon Garage, just going to talk about his new teammate, Dean Thompson. Dean Thompson was coming over from Nice Motorsports in 2022, where he had zeros all across the board. So really anything was going to be an improvement from last year to this year. There were some improvements, gained a few top 5s and a couple top 10s this season, and average finish went up slightly. He not only ran good as the Gray brothers did. The only problem that Dean had was he crashed out. A lot. 10 DNFs on the entire season hindered his results, whether the crash was his fault or not. If Dean didn't have those DNFs, he'd probably be sitting with the Gray brothers in points. If Dean can lower that DNF count in 2024, then Dino here can possibly make it a three-way battle as the number 2 driver over at Tricon. But only time will tell if that can truly happen. Let's go ahead and finish off this list of disappointments with our Truck Series' biggest disappointment, Hailie Deegan. Hailie has spent her first 2 seasons with David Gilliland's team, showing aggression from her rookie year and sophomore seasons, as she too, like Austin Cindric, hit the sophomore slump. Going into 2023, she was getting some new scenery, as DGR was switching from Ford to Toyota, and since Hailie is signed to Ford, she departed from the team and found her new home at ThorSport, who switched from Toyota to Ford at the behest for Hailie. This season, a lot of fans, including myself, looked like a make-or-break year for her. She's driving for one of the best teams of the series, she has experienced teammates to lean on to improve, and a championship-winning crew chief on her side to lead the way. You would think massive changes would happen, right? Well, at first, that actually was hope. At the second race at Las Vegas, she scored her highest qualifying run with a 5th place start spot, but then she dropped to the middle of the pack and was involved in a crash. After that, she had a few decent finishes to her standards. Had a few finishes closer to the top 10 and tied her best career finish of 6th at Texas. After that, it was pretty much downhill from here. Whether it was poor performance, accidents she had no control over, or accidents of her own doing, resulted in a 19th place points finish with only 2 top 10s this season. She now holds the record at ThorSport for having the worst points finish for a driver since Shelby Howard in 2008. Underperforming in ThorSport equipment is bad enough. It's even worse when all 3 of her teammates made the playoffs and one of them made it to the Final 4, while she wasn't even in a consideration for a playoff spot. Hailie's tenure in the Truck Series has put a bad taste in a lot of fans' mouths. The results have not matched the hype, and she continues to get the opportunities, while other drivers in her shoes are either out of NASCAR or put in lower tier rides. She'll be heading up to the Xfinity Series next year to drive AM Racing's second car, the number 15 car. Now, I did a video when it was announced, so if you want to watch that, for my opinion, go right on ahead. But I'll just say this. This move to the Xfinity Series would either be a smart move to prove her fans right, that she has the ability and talent to succeed, or it will be a bad decision and prove the doubters right, that she doesn't have what it takes to be in NASCAR, or should try something else. And well, that's our list of disappointments. Agree with the list? Think somebody should be in here? Let me know in the comments and subscribe for more if you want to see more.